Peace. Trying to do something new. Peace. Agape. Giving silence a chance occasionally breeds thoughts. Thoughts of what? What indeed? Today, we will give a look to beyond Western economics, encountering or remembering other economic cultures. And some of my research has taken me on a journey. And I would just like to share with you some of my discoveries along this journey that we're going to take here. This is my exemplification, I guess you could say, of the third stage of what I call the pentivium. And forgive the camera, it's not very good quality, but unfortunately, but hopefully I can fix that in the future by way of being published. I am writing a book. The book is called Philosophia, and the metaphysics and the alchemical renaissance. Keys to the alchemical renaissance. This renaissance, by the way, is characterized by reciprocity. That is a word that means mutual benefit and mutual gain in terms of one's giving and receiving. For instance, in a world that uses more constructive means, constructive means in the way of, shall we say, alternative economic premises. The book Beyond Western Economics displays some knowledge that is perhaps vital to our understanding of what it means to have a currency system in the 21st century. And unfortunately, what is currently the case is globalization. Globalization isn't necessarily a bad thing. It does represent a world society which, due to its nature, requires a world government. This world government will either be characterized by one of two different capacities or ideologies, I guess you could say. These two ideologies are empathy and psychopathy, for lack of a, well, this is a pretty good description of it. It's either empathy or psychopathy. And so what we have is a civilization based on love and a civilization based on fear. A civilization based on love is going to work together. They're going to transcend the boundaries that are created by nationalism, because nationalism is simply a fear of other. through education, a love-based society is capable of far greater achievements than a fear-based society system. War is an effect of fear. And so it is, actually. So it is that fear is to war as love is to peace. And what does it mean to love? What does it mean to broaden one's scope of empathy? To broaden one's scope of empathy and welcome reciprocity. This is the question of our age. This is the question of our age. And beyond Western economics, there are ideas. There are ideas which consist of a pre-modern, you could say, economic premise. And this is through history of ownership, rather than from a arbitrary command like our fiat-based money is today. And what can we say for the money debt-based model of today? Ever since the lifting of the Bretton Woods Agreement, the so-called Nixon shock in the 70s, the money economy hasn't really been the same. And towards the late 80s, there was a very vast increase in the wages of the CEOs, but a stagnancy in the wages of the workers. Now, how about that? And since the people prior to this were taught, hey, bootstraps, buddy. This is a golden economy. And over the years, this started to erode. The truth was that it had become the very same empire tyranny that the United States originally revolted from in the first place. And how about that? How about that? So now we are at a crossroads. And that crossroads is between slavery and freedom. It's as simple as that. But it is very complicated. It is very complicated because there are so many factors involved in either of those two branches, those two polarities. And so the Western economic theory is to essentially empire. I mean, that's really the theory, I suppose you could say, of Western economics. It's everyone for himself in an empire against empire world. And the ultimate empire is a world empire that can govern over the entire planet. And we'll have cloning, and we'll have the industrialization of the human body, just the same as the technology. There's a certain point when it goes too far. It's called a progress trap, where you exploited all of the resources and then you have nothing left. And that's what modern civilization is, essentially. We're in a progress trap. A progress trap that will inevitably end in our doom. And what are we going to do about it? Well, there's no alternative, we say. This is the way the world is, and that's just how it's got to be. And there's nothing you can do about it. Well, you know what? I don't believe that. And neither should you. Because the truth is, We are in control of our own destiny if we have the wherewithal. If we only had the wherewithal. If we have the wherewithal, we can create a new civilization. It's been done before. How do you think civilization occurred in the first place? So, this book, Beyond Western Economics, is devoted to the exploration of the study of different economic theories primarily existing throughout the West. However, the trend that we see in the context of our economic development, there is an evolution of government, there is an evolution of economy. There is an evolution of our currency, let's say, and with it our sense of economy. It has evolved from being something that comes from just nature, barter, you just have this sense of being able to trade. It's an intrinsic trait that we have, to trade something of value for something else of value, something that I want for something which you need. And in our current world, our current context, this has been replaced by a system of debt and what we call credit, but which is ultimately really debt. Everything it's a debt economy, and it's a fiat system of currency, meaning that there is nothing backing it, but it's faith, the faith that people have in that currency. So at this point, it's just human will that's driving this whole thing. And so, what my idea is essentially is to take out the middleman. What do we need a bank for? What do we need a supposed economic stabilizer when we can essentially just agree upon the value of human contribution to society and provide the necessities reciprocally back to the people for being servants to society in the first place. That there should be a distinction between a sovereign, which there is in our legal what is it? Legalese, I guess you could say, is the vernacular, but in our jurisprudence, I guess you could say, there is a distinction between sovereign and citizen. A sovereign is a ruler unto themselves. A ruler unto themselves, essentially. A self-mastered man or woman. And what is a citizen? A citizen is a servant. A servant. So, what we witness today is that we are no longer even servants. We have been turned into essentially slaves. Slaves to corporate masters on a global economic plantation. And what are you going to do about it, they say, as I expressed before. But cooperative community economies, cooperatives, there's a yesteryear to this, but this is all stuff that has shown to have lasting benefits, not only for the community, but for the ecology. And see, this is the thing, is that we need to change the profit motive from being investments over returns to being ecological and human benefit. We need to have higher ideals about what the purpose of our society is supposed to be. There is a battle between utilitarianism and sentimentalism. And the battle that is taking place between these two polarities has a balance, and must find a balance in order for us to ultimately come to a transformation point, a transformation of our culture and our society. We can do this only when there is a certain amount of community, but also education and culture